Clone Wars is coming back to the big screen, and 2011 should be a very good year for Star Wars gamers. It's Sunday, November 14th, and you'll hear about those stories and more this week in Star Wars. This Week in Star Wars is your source for new and noteworthy developments from the galaxy far, far away. I'm your host, Matt Fox. And now this week's lead story. According to StarWars.com, Savage or Savage Opress, the newly released villain from the Star Wars Clone Wars announced at Star Wars Celebration 5, will be making his debut not on the small screen, but on the big screen during the first week of December. Special free screenings of the debut of the new villain are going to be shown at 11 sites across the country. Attendance is free, although attendees are required to register in advance, and the donation of a new unopened toy is requested. No word on the official site as to whether only one episode will be shown or whether this will be longer than a 22-minute engagement. However, the episode will air, according to the site, on the Cartoon Network in January of 2011. In collecting news this week, the Return of the Jedi wave of vintage action figures has been spotted across the country, primarily at Targets. One of the more interesting aspects of this wave is that it does include the new Anakin Skywalker Revenge of the Sith figure with the Darth Vader name change. Also of note on this particular figure is the inclusion on the back of new card back designs not yet seen, including specifically the new Tatooine Luke and Han Solo Medal Ceremony figures from Episode 4. A number of video game developments this week, all involving releases that will occur during the next calendar year. First, the Star Wars Kinect video game for the newly released Microsoft Xbox 360 motion sensing device has been confirmed as a holiday release, Holiday 2011. Star Wars The Old Republic, the new and highly anticipated MMORPG, which was slated for release in spring of 2011, has seen that estimated release amended to be simply 2011. This, according to an article in Eurogamer. Considering there is no official release date, this is entirely possible. However, we do now have an official release date for LEGO Star Wars 3. This version of the popular LEGO franchise features adventures from the Clone Wars animated series and has been long anticipated and will now be available on February 15th, 2011. According to the article on PlayStationLifestyle.net, this edition of the franchise will feature 20 story-based missions and over 40 bonus levels, all based on the animated show. And, believe it or not, that is it for news this week. Did you see that Harrison Ford was on Letterman again this week, pimping his latest crappy movie, Morning Glory or something like that? The conversation was not without Star Wars content, however, and as us Star Wars fans have come to expect, Ford looked throughout the entire discussion as if he would rather be talking about his experiences with colonic irrigation. This led to the usual flurry of articles in the non-Star Wars press, with headlines like, Harrison Ford doesn't like Star Wars, or Harrison Ford wishes Han Solo had been killed off, while we fans have long been accustomed to reading such headlines. While I was reading these stories and trying to decide if there was anything actually new or noteworthy in them to include in this program, I came across one site which has adeptly assembled a number of Harrison Ford interviews from YouTube clips going back as far as pre-Empire Strikes Back promotional materials. Go to MovieLine.com, search Ford Hates Star Wars, and watch the evolution of our favorite scoundrel-turned-hero's attitude towards the trilogy that made him famous. And that was This Week in Star Wars. Join us again next week for more news, notes, and developments from the galaxy far, far away. Visit www.thisweekinstarwars.com or www.twisw.com for links to old episodes, news about the show, as well as links to some of the stories we discussed in today's program. You can follow us on our breaking news Twitter feed, TWISWcast, and we welcome comments on our Facebook page. We also welcome news suggestions, questions, and comments via email at host@thisweekinstarwars.com. Help us grow the community. If you enjoyed This Week in Star Wars, please go to iTunes and leave a positive review of the podcast. You've been listening to This Week in Star Wars. We troll the web so you don't have to.
This Week in Star Wars is not affiliated with Lucasfilm, its subsidiaries, or any other entity mentioned in this podcast. Star Wars, its characters, and creations are the property of Lucasfilm. All other trademarks are property of their respective trademark owners. This Week in Star Wars is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. This podcast is copyright 2010 This Week in Star Wars. Invaluable technical assistance provided by WebStorm Interactive. News, comments, and questions can be directed to host@thisweekinstarwars.com. More information, links to stories presented, past episodes, and additional contact information are available at www.thisweekinstarwars.com.
I was Ham Yo-Yo.